Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I want to talk to you about Donald Trump's peace process and his negotiations with Iran have completely unraveled, and we seem to be at war all over again. Donald Trump takes a lot of pride in his ability to negotiate and to make a deal, but he seems to be completely stymied by the Iranians. He's unable to convince them, he's unable to threaten them, he's unable to bribe them. Donald Trump has a tiger by the tail. He cannot continue to hold it. He cannot let it go. So, before we go any further, please remember to subscribe to the channel. So, Donald Trump has been making all kinds of threats, etc., about Iran. Trump says Iran will pay the price after it targets U.S. assets in three countries. And I want to show you a tweet by Donald Trump in which he says, "Last month, I directed our great U.S. military to execute a secret mission to support oil tankers and other commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know how it could be secret if even if one ship was helped, everybody would have known. Today, I'm pleased to announce that this effort has resulted in more than 100 million barrels of oil making its way through the strait and into the open market. More than 200 commercial ships have safely traveled through the strait. This wildly successful effort is because the United States of America controls the Strait of Hormuz, not Iran." So this is the crux of his claim that it's the United States which now controls the Strait of Hormuz. If the US controls the Strait of Hormuz, then what is the problem? Just open it. Just open it and let things be normal and come home, end the war, or continue to hold on to Hormuz. So I don't understand this. What I find astonishing is that Donald Trump has been making so many claims from the beginning of this war. He started by saying that within a week or within 4 to 6 weeks, this whole war will be over. Iran would surrender unconditionally. Those are his words. We will have a new regime in Iran which will be doing whatever Israel wants. That was the plan, right? So, what has happened? When will Donald Trump wake up and smell the coffee? When is he going to realize that he has failed to achieve all his maximalist goals? This whole idea that the Iranians will rise in opposition and there will be a revolution and the regime will collapse, all of that has completely gone out of the window. Even he doesn't say that anymore. So, what has Donald Trump achieved so far? Has he caused some damage to Iran? Yes. Has he pushed back Iran's development? Yes. Have they killed thousands of people? Yes. I mean, Israel and the US, we kill a lot of people all the time. Okay, Israel has killed another 3,000 plus people in Lebanon, and the genocide in Gaza still goes on with American support and weapons and help and all of that. But the US seems to be completely stymied by the Iranians. This wildly successful effort is because the United States of America controls the Strait of Hormuz, not Iran. Their military is defeated and their economy is lost. It's over for Iran. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, I don't understand, like, what is the point of a post like this? Even a little kid would say, okay, if their military is defeated, their economy is lost, if it's all is over for Iran, why is the war still on? Why are we there? What are you negotiating for? If you have destroyed Iran, just walk away or walk in and take it, and give it to Israel. So, so that's the point I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know who believes this stuff. I'm sure there are at least 38% people in this country who believe this crap. Absolute nonsense. Otherwise, why would his approval rating still hover around that figure? But anyway, so in the past 36, 40 hours, there has been a hot war. The US has bombarded many places, has bombarded an island, has hit some refineries in Iran, and Donald Trump is now threatening to destroy more bridges and power plants in Iran. Iran, on its part, has shot down an Apache helicopter with a drone, and the United States, and it has also attacked Jordan. It has attacked Bahrain. It has attacked Kuwait. So even though Donald Trump says he has destroyed all of this, Iran is still able to attack three countries, and it's targeted all U.S. bases in those three countries. In fact, another few hours before that, one of Iranian's missiles actually hit an Israeli military headquarters or office or whatever it was in northern Israel. So in the last 48 hours, Iran has not only attacked Israel but has attacked Jordan, Bahrain, and Kuwait. It's attacked four countries, all of these places which have US bases. We haven't received any damage assessment as of now. Obviously, there have been no casualties, and thank God, no fatalities. Otherwise, we would have heard of it. And But something interesting happened when when the Iranians shot down the American Apache. It was with a drone. Apparently, the drone got stuck between the two pilots and didn't explode. It was on fire but did not explode. If it had exploded, those two lucky pilots would have died. And so they brought the helicopter down, and I guess into the water, I suppose. And then they stayed in the water for 2 hours, and then they were rescued by this fellow called Jake. This is a drone, a sea-based drone. It basically looks like a motorboat with a drone on top. So it looks more like a modified thing, like these are ordinary cheap speedboats. That's how they look. But on top of that, they have something which I guess is a guiding material. So it's a speedboat, which instead of having a person who can guide it and steer it, is remotely steered. And it went and collected the two pilots. Then they were airlifted out by another helicopter. So anyway, this is something that people are giving credit to the Ukrainians. It was the Ukrainians who kind of brought this they used it a lot apparently in the war with Russia, rescuing their pilots who followed into the sea. This looks more like something that it's not like I have seen pictures or videos of sea drones, but this looks like a modified thing. But anyway, this is the hero of the day. If rescued, America has now twice successfully rescued pilots, people I mean, the previous one was obviously a very spectacular achievement. 15E, the US aircraft, which was shot down, and two pilots were landed actually in Iran. And there was a race between the Americans and the Iranians to find them, and the Americans, we found them and we rescued them. That's a spectacular thumbs up to the US military for those spectacular life-saving achievements. But Donald Trump, I have some other bits of news for Mr. Donald Trump, and we will talk about that. And this is what I would like to share with the president, that yesterday we had data come out about in US inflation data. So there are two numbers that you need to know. One number is called headline CPI and the other is core CPI. These are both consumer price index information. So what I have done is I've collected data for December 2024. This is the data which tells you roughly what the US inflation was when Donald Trump became president. So when Donald Trump was sworn in as president on January 21st, 2025, last year, the headline CPI, which is the total inflation, was 2.9%. And then and we have something here called core CPI. So this core inflation is something very interesting. This core inflation is energy and food is removed. So I don't know why you would remove energy and fuel, because those are fundamental for most ordinary Americans. That is the core element. Oh my God, gas is expensive, going to work is expensive, going anywhere is expensive. Even if I want to stay within the country, not go abroad for a vacation, if I just want to go meet my aunt somewhere, cousin somewhere, go to the beach on the weekend, it's going to cost me a lot more. Before the war, gas was around 2.9 here in Delaware. Now it's 4.2. So anyway, the core inflation was 3.2%. Then on February 27, this is 24 hours before the war started, the inflation, Donald Trump, well, he bragged about bringing it down, and he was correct. He brought down headline, which means the total inflation, to 2.4%, So basically, in that 1 year as president, he was able to reduce inflation by 0.5%. And then he was able to actually reduce the core inflation by more than a 0.5%. If you remember, there was a lot of this chatter about how expensive eggs had become. And so he was very proud of the fact that he had brought down the price of eggs. So it came down to 2.5%. And then today, that is June 10th, the inflation is now, the headline inflation is 4.2%. And the core, which means you take out gas and you take out food, it is 2.9%. So this is an important figure. Even if you ignore gas and energy and food costs, so the core inflation is up there at 2.9%. So what that is going to tell you is that every damn thing is going up, is more expensive. It has gone up by roughly 0.5% since this war. So this is the real cost of the war with Iran. And on the total inflation, it's at 4.2%. And so Donald Trump is saying that, and in his comments today when he was asked about this number, I think Donald Trump has a very low, his perception of his own supporters is that they must be very, very dumb and ignorant, because he said, I love inflation. So his idea is that as soon as the war stops, this is going to simply crash. As soon as this war stops, this inflation is going to drop. No, my dear friend, it is not. For example, there is this concept that a lot of oil dealers talk about, and that concept is about how the price of gas goes up like a rocket. So if any time there is some provocation, the price of gas and oil just shoots like a rocket. It goes up like it did, right, from 65 before the war to up to 118 at one point, 120. It's right now around 90, I think, the Brent oil price. Yesterday it was at 97%. I can check for you right now what the Brent oil price is. Brent oil price right now is 94 dollars. So if you are buying Brent, it's 94. If you're buying American crude, the what is called as West Texas thingy, that's about $92. So yes, it's bloody expensive right now. So it's at $94. That's the price if you're going to buy oil. But it does not come down like a rocket. It comes down like a feather. So it'll come down slowly. What that really means is that even if the war stops today, the price of gas is not going to go back, at least in Delaware, to $2.9. It is at 4.1, 4.2 today. So it will take several months for it to go down. And of course, the oil companies will be making huge profits from this. And that is a huge problem for Donald Trump. That's why he's so frustrated. For those of you who like to see it in figures, this is what I want to show you. The first two figures that you see, this is how inflation looked at when Donald Trump became president. This was how it was when he went to war with Iran. And this is how it is. And you can see the total inflation is now at 4.2%. So that is where we are. Donald Trump made lots of promises about this war. We will have full regime change. We will have total unconditional surrender by Iran. He claims that we have destroyed all of its air force. We've destroyed all of its navy. We have destroyed its military. We have destroyed its economy. Then send a bunch of kindergarten kids to go take Iran. It should be defenseless, isn't it? But that's not the case. That's not the case. The Strait of Hormuz is also blocked at the moment, and the Iranians saying that now they are also going to block it. We will find out within a few hours as to how many ships have successfully gone through the Strait of Hormuz and how many have not. So that's where we are today. Donald Trump has threatened to destroy Iran. So we are back at war. There is no negotiations going on. The Iranians have simply stopped responding. Donald Trump said he had a phone call with the Iranians. The Iranians said we did not have a phone call. So there's also an internal struggle going on between the Iranians. The hardliners, especially from IRGC, are not interested in making any concessions. So as far as Donald Trump is concerned, he's stuck between, like I said yesterday, he's stuck between Netanyahu on one end, trying his best to ensure that there is no ceasefire. So Netanyahu is going around killing people in Lebanon, which is putting pressure on the Iranians. And so the Iranians are telling Americans, look, as long as there is war in Lebanon, there is no ceasefire. So even if there's an agreement on the broad framework between the Iranian negotiators and the US negotiators and the Pakistanis who are mediating and the Qataris who are there today again, the Qataris have gone again to Tehran today. So if they are mediating there, if there's war going on in Lebanon, Donald Trump made all this fancy phone call and told Netanyahu, are you crazy? What are you doing in Lebanon? This and that. And nothing happened. Netanyahu went and bombed. And doesn't Donald Trump understand this? I've said this many times. Donald Trump thinks that he's king of America. No, you're not king. You're constrained by the Constitution. That's why the Supreme Court threw out his tariffs policy. And yesterday, a high court threw out his $100,000 fee on the H-1B issue. So the courts are telling Donald Trump, you just can't make any rules as you like. You're not king of the United States. And of course, when it comes to Israel, he's just Netanyahu's servant. Sometimes I feel that Donald Trump gets up in the morning and goes and polishes Netanyahu's shoes, makes his bed, makes breakfast for Netanyahu, and then salutes him, then comes back to the White House and then begins his day. So I think that's where Donald Trump is. He thinks he's king of America and servant of Netanyahu. But those things are out of the way. He's unable to get Israel to stop bombing Lebanon, and I think that will continue to remain a problem for him to negotiate with Iran. Even if there's, let's say that they agree upon a ceasefire and Iran agrees to the conditions that the United States want, Israel can simply break that by attacking Lebanon. That's the end of it. The other thing is Donald Trump pretends as if he doesn't care about this, but he's very worried about the Strait of Hormuz because he was told by the Israelis that Iran would not be able to take the Strait of Hormuz, whereas the US intelligence told him that they would. This man did not listen to his own intelligence agency, did not listen to his own generals, just did what a foreign country ordered him to do. And now he's stuck. His biggest problem is that the Iranians want half of the $24 billion that the US has frozen, half of it released before they agree and half of it released afterwards. So they're not even talking about the nuclear issue yet. Trump have you noticed how even Trump has stopped talking about now the nuclear weapons? In the last 48 hours, he hasn't said much about Iran's nuclear weapons. So this is what the Iranians are saying. Release $12 billion of our frozen assets. Then we will have a ceasefire. Then we will open the Strait of Hormuz. And then we'll start negotiating. In the next 60 days, we will decide what to do with the enriched uranium that is about 1,000 pounds, about 420 kilos, which is enriched to the level of 65% or 60%. And then we will decide about Iran's desire to keep the technology to enrich uranium. Iran claims that it is their national sovereign right to have the capacity to enrich. The US wants them to lose that capacity. So we haven't reached that negotiations at all. Even Trump has acknowledged that the initial ceasefire framework will be only about opening the Strait of Hormuz, but Iran wants that $12 billion. Donald Trump is stuck because he's made so much fun of the JCPOA and called Obama and other American presidents stupid, etc. But now he's stuck because he's going to get a deal. I've been saying this from the beginning of the war. Remember this. I told you so, that he's going to agree finally to a JCPOA style deal, but it'll be more expensive. Obama got the JCPOA for about $1.7 billion. Donald Trump is going to get JCPOA minus the Strait of Hormuz at probably $24 billion. To the US checks. And of course, I'm not even counting the billions of dollars that we have spent. We have spent over $100 billion in this war, which has lasted about 100 days. We are spending $1 billion a year, $1 billion a day. This is the government that did not have $30 billion to extend the subsidies of ACA, the Affordable Care Act. So there are many seniors whose insurance cost of healthcare has gone through the roof because the Republicans said that we don't have $30 billion to extend Obamacare. But we have $100 billion to go and give Iran the Strait of Hormuz. Can you imagine if the United States continues to keep the Strait of Hormuz open as they think it's not open? All the US has done is blockaded it too. So Iranians closed the Strait of Hormuz for the rest of the world, and the US closed the Strait of Hormuz for Iran. The US did not open it. For those of you who are watching from India, I just want to make an announcement that in another 10 minutes, I'll be back on the channel to talk about the two ships with 24 Indian sailors, which the US sank, attacked, and disabled in the past 48 hours. So there are two ships that the US has attacked. Until recently, 21 of the sailors, 21 out of 24 sailors were received, 3 were not. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs is very upset about it. They have summoned the U.S. charge d'affaires to the embassy and given them a démarche, a diplomatic notice. And everybody there in Delhi seems to be very upset with the United States for basically attacking U.S. ships. Well, they're not. They were flagged by some small country called Palau or something. But all the 24 sailors on each of those two ships were Indians, and they are very unhappy because the US is attacking civilian staff. And so the Indian Ministry of External Affairs has also issued a strongly worded statement. And all of this is happening just 1 week before Modi is scheduled to meet with Donald Trump in France at the G7 summit. And today, Donald Trump sent this congratulatory note to Modi and saying, you are a wonderful leader. You're a very strong leader. I hope you remain in charge for several years. Anyway, that is where we are at the moment. So Donald Trump has lost this war. He hasn't yet realized it. All his goals he has given up. He has gone to minimalist goals. His goal to end Iran's nuclear capacity, that has not ended. Iran still has the enriched uranium. Iran can still enrich the uranium. Iran still has ballistic missile capability. Iran is still supporting Hezbollah and Houthis. And on top of that, the regime has not collapsed. So, yes, the US military is fantastic. You can see that. I mean, they've been fighting a war for two months, and while the bases have been destroyed, it hasn't done much damage to the US. No major ship has sunk or anything like that. So the US has the military capability, it just has very stupid and incompetent political leadership. And that is why the US is not able to achieve political goals with its military deployments. So anyway, thank you for watching Conversations. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon. And those of you who watch from India, please come back in 6 minutes and we will be doing another show in Hindi about those two ships. Take care. Thank you for watching. Bye.